This is gonna take a while. What's up guys, Luke back again with another video, and today I thought it would be fun if we did a little bit of a gaming year in review for 2020. So today we're going to go over the games that I had played this year. This year I actually made it a point to play more games for my stream as well as for YouTube content, and I think I've played more games this year than I had any year previously. So I thought it'd be fun if we just went over each game that I played and sort of give it a summary and review. Before we get started, make sure you smash that like button if you like content like this, and if you want to catch me every time I post a new video, hit that subscribe button with bell notifications turned on. But with that being said, let's get right into it. So up front, I wanted to start with the Battle Royale games that I've played this year. And the first game is Cuisine Royale. This is a game that actually just recently came out, I think this year as well. And this one was sort of a PUBG-like Battle Royale game, and I actually got a big kick out of it. I actually streamed it for a few weeks on end and was quickly rising up in the rankings, you know, because I'm alright at Battle Royales, I guess. It was a really fun game. There's a lot of rituals and different things that you can pick up. There's power-ups that you get and collect as you win games and gain experience. It is a completely free-to-play game, and I would highly recommend it. Now, is it a game that is going to be a mainstay? We will see. It is definitely a fun one that I wouldn't mind going back to, but I just haven't gotten that itch yet. The second game that I want to talk about is a game that has been a mainstay for me ever since Season 5, Chapter 1, and that is Fortnite. I actually had my first experience with Fortnite on the Nintendo Switch back in 2018, I want to say, and I haven't stopped since. The Battle Royale gameplay of Fortnite is like nothing else. It's so unique in its gameplay with the building mechanics, the ability to instantly cover yourself up if you're getting shot at. Really adds a lot to the game. It's highly addicting. It's a mainstay for me. I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. I have tons of money in Marvel skins, DC skins, all kinds of crazy skins. Shh, don't tell my wife. And I just love this game. You guys already know about Fortnite, and if you don't, go check it out. It's free to play, and hey, one of these days maybe we can play. I've been grinding it a lot on my stream lately, so come over and maybe we can play a few games together. The next game on my list is Battletoads, and not the original Battletoads on NES. I do have a lot of nostalgia and fondness for that game. I'm talking about the new Battletoads that just came out, and it's developed by Rare, the same company that developed the original game. I felt like this game really got me by surprise. Going into it, I thought, hey, I think it's going to be a good one, but going out of it, I was just absolutely thrilled with the retro style gameplay of this game, as well as the dialogue was extremely funny. Battletoads is obviously known for breaking up gameplay even in the original with the speed bike mission, the infamous speed bike mission that I still cannot beat to this day. But this one expounded upon that even further. There's beat 'em up sections, there's speed bike sections, there's platforming sections, and there's also shoot 'em up sections. So there's a little bit of something for everyone. It's very challenging, but also you can turn the difficulty down. So if you want that original Battletoads experience where you're tearing your hair out and rage quitting, you can turn up the difficulty. Or if you're playing with a loved one, maybe a younger generation loved one, your son or daughter that you kind of want to introduce to the game, you can turn down that difficulty and make it a lot more enjoyable for the younger generation, or even yourself. I'm not gonna say that I was playing on hard. If you are into retro games, or if you're into beat 'em up games, you should definitely be checking out Battletoads. The next game on my list is Blair Witch. Blair Witch was another one that I was like, hey, you know, I remember the movie from back in the day was a very controversial movie, and it really took the horror genre by storm. A lot of people were talking about it, and I feel like it inspired a lot of other movie makers, like the creators of Paranormal Activity, to do a lot of the same things. So this game, going into it, I kind of had a opinion on it. I wasn't really sure what I was gonna get out of it, and initially I was like, oh man, I think this is a drag. But if you actually dive into Blair Witch and give it a chance, I felt like I pulled out a lot from this game. There was a lot of just interesting parts where there's puzzle solving, that there was a little bit of getting lost happening, and I will admit there was a few times where I just had to kind of look it up and figure out what to do next. But for the most part, the puzzle solving was very satisfying and very fun. In Blair Witch the movie, the characters are very sort of defenseless, and the game is no different. There are no guns. It's all just you and your light and a few extra tools that you have. So the survival horror aspect is alive and kicking. So if you are into survival horrors and you like being put in those awkward positions of sort of being defenseless aside from your little flashlight, this one is definitely for you. It's about a 6.5 hour game, or at least it took me that long to beat it. There's some really interesting decisions that you have to make. You have a companion dog, and this is one where I finished it in one setting, and I just sat back in my chair and was kind of taking in the experience. This is definitely a game that I would encourage any horror fan to check out. And for non-horror fans, I would say, you know, if it's on Game Pass or a free service, try it out. I think it's definitely worth at least giving a shot. Donkey Kong 64. This is a game that is very nostalgic for me. I remember back in the day just spending countless hours on my Nintendo 64 with my atomic purple controller, and just spending so much time switching out Kongs, trying to figure out what to do next. And I remember distinctly getting to a point where I couldn't figure out where to go, and eventually I just kind of gave up on the game and never really came back to it. So this year during the shutdown, I was like, you know what, that is a great time killing game. I'm gonna beat this game. It's a part of my bucket list. I'm gonna beat it, and I didn't beat it. It is one that, although I love very much, it's one that I feel like does not hold up over the years. I would much rather spend my time playing a traditional Donkey Kong 2D game than playing Donkey Kong 64, unfortunately. I did spend about 8 hours with it, and what I did spend was enjoyable to a certain degree, but after a little bit of time and stages and swapping out Kongs and just kind of dealing with the puzzles that are, you know, semi-satisfying and rewarding, but it's just one that I might need to just mark off of my bucket list and just count it as, you know, we had fun while it lasted. Dragon Ball Advanced Adventure. This was a sort of hidden gem that I found when I was looking for good Dragon Ball games to play in run up to Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. This year we actually had kind of a Dragon Ball month on the stream, so all of January I just streamed Dragon Ball games, and this was the first one that I experienced. It's really fun, side-scrolling beat 'em up game along with a little bit of shoot 'em up and some fighting game sequences. This game was really fun and really unique because it's actually based off of the original Dragon Ball series and not Dragon Ball Z, which tends to get the most amount of love. I highly recommend it. You can pick this game up on your Game Boy Advance, and I promise you, it will not disappoint. The next game I want to talk about was Dragon Ball Kakarot. This game just came out this year. It was one that I was really excited for. I actually did an unboxing for this game. Link in the cards above if you want to go and check that out. It is one of our early videos, so I have a lot of just fun feelings for it and some memories of our janky equipment and setup, which is still semi-jank but getting better. And we just had a blast doing this unboxing video. As far as the game goes, I did enjoy it. I am a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. Going into it, I was very excited. This game I did spend about 60 hours in, and I'm not an action RPG guy, so there is something to be said. If you're a Dragon Ball fan, I definitely recommend checking this one out. But after about 50 or 60 hours, for me personally, it kind of wore out its welcome. The gameplay gets sort of monotonous. It's the same thing over and over. I think they simplified it a little bit too much, and there just really isn't a whole lot to do outside of fetch quests, side quests, stuff like that, and then progressing through the story that we've all seen and heard a million times. If you grew up watching Dragon Ball Z on Toonami, you're not going to get anything fresh here. It's pretty much all the same things. They did come out with some DLC a little bit later on that had to do with Super, and I do enjoy Super, but I just haven't been able to finish this one out. However, I don't think it's a bad choice if you're a Dragon Ball fan and like action RPGs. I'm sure you'd probably have no problem finishing this one up, but for me, side quests, fetch quests, stuff like that just aren't my thing. I like more action-based stuff. I like linear paths versus a giant open world that I can go and explore. Definitely go and check this one out. I think it's a good game, and for it being 60 hours of gameplay for me, that's out of my element. Usually I spend about 20 hours on games max. If I really like them, maybe 30. This one I did end up spending 60 hours in, so there is definitely some fun to be had, and I think there's a lot of bang for the buck, especially if you pick it up on discount. Gears of War 5. This game really took me by surprise. I do like the Gears series, and back in the day, I remember spending hours grinding on Xbox Live playing their online multiplayer. I do have a lot of fond memories, but I didn't spend a whole lot of time in single player modes. My main allure with Gears 5 was the online play back in the day. Now, as time has gone on, I've kind of developed and changed as a gamer, and I tend to enjoy single player modes on these types of games more now. So with Gears 5, I set out to beat the campaign and then dive into the online multiplayer later. As far as the campaign goes, I thought it was very good. I thought the story was pretty darn good. I thought it was interesting that you were playing as a girl as the main protagonist. This is kind of a running theme with games these days, but hey, rock on, man. Girl power, that's totally fine. I don't really care as long as, you know, it's a good and entertaining game. It's definitely one that I think you should check out, especially if you have Game Pass. It's already on there. Go get it. Check out the campaign. As far as multiplayer goes, it's sort of more of the same. It's not something that's like really revolutionary or game-changing, which I think a lot of Gears fans don't really want. If you're into Gears multiplayer, the wall bouncing and stuff like that, definitely go and check it out. I think it's definitely fun for, you know, for the time that I spent with it. Well worth it. Little Nightmares. This game was recommended to me by a good friend of mine and stream viewer, and I picked this one up, really not sure what to expect, but I was instantly in love. It has a Tim Burton, sort of almost Dr. Seuss-y sort of design as far as like the level design goes. The characters are grotesque and scary. The main character, you don't really know much about him, but it says so much with saying so little. There's literally no dialogue or text in the entire game, but I was compelled and enthralled by the story the entire time, at the edge of my seat, wondering what's gonna happen next. This game has awesome puzzles as well as ugly but at the same time cute characters that you interact with, and it's just so, it's bursting with creativity and charm. I know it's funny me saying that about a horror / scary game, but it really does have a lot of character. It has a lot of charm behind it. And if you have not checked out this game yet, check it out. It is well worth it. Ori and the Blind Forest. This game has been out for quite a while, and I actually remember seeing this game on a shelf. It was a physical copy of it on disc for PC, and I remember seeing it and almost thinking to myself, I should get my PC going just so I can play this game. The art design on the cover of the game was enough for me, but when I actually started to play it this year on my Xbox One X, I was blown away by the visuals of this game. It's an absolutely gorgeous game. It has cool Metroidvania level design, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. The story is fantastic. It's a story of redemption and restoration, but it is not for the faint of heart. This game is difficult. The platforming in it is very timing based and very difficult if you struggle with timing based platforming. There's a lot of power-ups that you get as you go. A lot like typical Metroidvania games, you need certain power-ups to get to certain areas on the map. You can go back and revisit other areas even after you've kind of accomplished the main task of being there. Difficult and challenging, but not too hard where you lose interest. And the story was phenomenal. There is a second game, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, that I have yet to play, but I've heard a lot of amazing things, people going as far as saying that it's even better than the Blind Forest. We'll have to see about that, but I am super happy to say that Ori and the Blind Forest is a game well worth checking out. If you haven't checked it out yet and you're into Metroidvania style games, retro style games, definitely go and check out Ori. Paper Mario and the Origami King. This was my first time experiencing a Paper Mario game. Don't hit me. I'm just kidding. And you know, this one I did enjoy. It was very cute. It was very charming. I had a great time playing it. But this one did overstay its welcome a little bit for me. Once I found out that you actually don't really need to engage in battles, it really lost its luster in my opinion. I found myself running away from enemy characters and not trying to enter into battle sequences that were really sort of unnecessary. There's no XP gained when you defeat an enemy, so you just get coins and you can use those as power-ups, but I never found myself in a position where I was stuck between a rock and a hard place and I needed to use those coins in battle very much. I mean, there were times where I just used them because I had a ton of them, but it just really felt like it was purposeless as far as the battle goes for the game. And as soon as I started feeling that way, really everything else just kind of fell through the floor. I thought the dialogue was great. Boss battles were pretty fun and entertaining. The actual purpose of the game, not very good, because you didn't really have to fight if you didn't want to with like normal enemies. And you know, it really overstayed its welcome. I felt like this game would be much better if it was about 20 hours or less, but this game I spent at least 35 hours in and I still wasn't finished, and I've yet to finish the game, and I don't think I will. I think it's definitely an enjoyable game. If you're new to RPGs and turn-based RPGs, I think you would have a fun time with this. As well as if you're of the younger generation, or you have younger generation in your family and you want to introduce them to Paper Mario games, I think there's definitely a place for that there. But if you're like me and you're kind of a seasoned gamer, I would highly recommend waiting for a sale on this game. Resident Evil 2 Remake. This year has been kind of a renaissance for me as far as horror games go. I actually made a video about the Resident Evil series a few months ago on the channel, link in the cards above. This year for me has been a crazy revolution as far as just my experience with horror games. Growing up, it wasn't really my thing. I would boot up a horror game maybe once in a while when I was feeling like I want to get scared, but for the most part, this is a genre that I missed out on and skipped for the majority of my adolescence and young adult life. But this year I kind of pulled up my britches and just, through just talking to other people about their experiences with horror and how much they love these sort of games, I was like, you know what? There's some good games out there that are horror based. Let's give it a shot. And Resident Evil 2 was that first game. This game absolutely blew me away. It reminded me and showed me that horror games can have impeccable and incredible stories. I love the story of this game. I love the gameplay. I love the feeling that I got when I was running away from Mr. X. And just all around, this game was a fantastic game and really jump-started my going into games like Little Nightmares, Resident Evil 3, Blair Witch, games like that. I don't think I would have experienced if it wasn't for Resident Evil 2 Remake. So if you're like me and you're not really too keen on horror games, but you've gotten older and you're not quite as afraid of the dark anymore, maybe give this one a shot. I think it would be a great intro into a genre that I think a lot of us missed out on because we weren't into it as adolescents. Resident Evil 3 Remake. This game was a lot like The Last of Us Part 2, where I finished the previous game and then I went right into it right before launch. I almost felt obligated to play this game, not only because I had a great experience with Resident Evil 2, but I had an unboxing planned with my good friend Dylan over at Consoles Only. Link to the unboxing video in the cards above. Go and check it out. We had a lot of fun making it. I felt sort of obligated to pick this game up and play it. I had an amazing time with it. It was a little bit different than Resident Evil 2 in the aspect that it was a little less survival horror and a little more Doom. If you know what I mean, like it had, big fire, lots of firepower, giant grenades, grenade launchers, machine guns, all that sort of stuff. It did still have those satisfying puzzles that you had to figure out and solve, and it was a little bit on the short side, but it did come with online multiplayer in the form of Resident Evil Resistance, which was very buggy at launch. I haven't played it lately. I'm sure that they've updated it and made some changes so that it's a little more balanced and less buggy. But I had a lot of fun playing through the single player. I think this game is well worth it. If you haven't checked it out yet, it's on discount with a lot of retailers. Go and check it out and let me know what you think. Sonic CD. This was another one that I really took to heart as far as wanting to beat. I grew up as a Sega kid. I had my first console was a hand-me-down Sega Genesis. I played a lot of Sonic and Knuckles on that system, as well as a bunch of other awesome Sega classics. Vector Man, if anyone remembers Vector Man, let me know in the comments section down below. But I never actually beat any of the Sonic games. So this one I kind of took personally. I did want to finally sort of, fulfill my life goal in beating a Sonic game. And Sonic CD just so happened to work out. We got a Sega CD in the store and I wanted to kind of try it out as well as Sonic CD. So I thought, what a fun and entertaining stream, as well as a bucket list game that I can finish, hopefully relatively quickly. It is one of the shorter games of the series, so I was able to beat it in 1 or 2 streams, and I had a really fun time doing it. If you haven't played Sonic CD yet, I highly recommend picking it up and checking it out. And if you don't have as much time to play these games nowadays, this one is a fairly quick game to finish, so you can say the same thing that I said, that you finished a Sonic game. Marvel's Spider-Man. This one was, going into it, obviously I knew it was going to be a fantastic game. It's made by a great developer, Insomniac Games. It's a Spider-Man game exclusive for the PS4, and I had heard countless reviews from different customers and friends that this game is fantastic and I need to check it out. I was very excited for it going into it, with the combat mechanics being very similar to the combat mechanics in the Batman Arkham games, which are still to this day some of my favorite mechanics. I just thought that the Arkham games had a masterpiece as far as combat goes, and Spider-Man didn't disappoint. It was a fantastic game to play through. I actually haven't finished it yet, but I do have about 30 hours into it, and I've had a blast playing through it. Side missions are sort of forced at certain points in the game. You have to break off of the main story and go and do side missions, which I don't like because I'm not a big side mission guy, but they did make up with it with the side missions being very addictive and very fun little mini games in most cases. The pollution ones I hated, the side missions where you have to take care of like pollution in the air and pollution in the water and stuff like that. I just felt like they were just an annoyance. But there was other parts that I really enjoyed, especially the lab sequences. This game is alive and full. The city feels full. It's really able to accomplish things that my second favorite Spider-Man game wasn't able to accomplish, and that was Spider-Man 2 for the original Xbox and PS2 back in the day and GameCube. Even on the base PS4, this game looks gorgeous. I'm really excited to try out Miles Morales. I haven't tried that one out yet on the PS5, but going back to the PS4 version, I don't have any qualms or complaints with the graphics. Definitely check this game out. It is well worth your time. Streets of Rage 4. For all you Sega kids out there, if you remember the Streets of Rage games from back in the day on the Sega Genesis, this game is kind of a homage and a sequel to those original side-scrolling beat-em-ups from back in the day on the Genesis, just on newer hardware. This game is fantastic. The graphics are very comic booky. That's what they remind me of. The game doesn't overstay its welcome. With a lot of beat 'em up games, I like a shorter game over a longer game because your thumb muscle gets kind of worn out by the end of it. They are button mashers. You know, there are some, extra moves and stuff that you can master and do, but overall they are button masher games, and this game didn't disappoint. I felt like it didn't overstay its welcome. It's about a 5 or so hour game. Definitely check this one out if you like the Streets of Rage games, and if you've never tried a beat 'em up before, I think this is a great first kind of foray into beat 'em ups. Check out this game and Battletoads, and I think you'll be set. This is the 4th time I've played through The Last of Us Remastered, and every time I play through it, I don't regret it. It is such a fun game, an amazing story. It's definitely my favorite game of all time, and I just love going back to it, playing different game modes, playing it on hard, playing the DLC, playing the campaign, whatever it may be. This game is a masterpiece in my eyes. Well worth checking out in 2021, and it'll be well worth checking out in 2030. So definitely go and check this one out, guys. Amazing game. If you like good story, if you like linear path and solid concrete gameplay with good mechanics, definitely go out and check out The Last of Us Remastered. When I played through The Last of Us Remastered, there was a little bit of a strategy behind it because the newest Last of Us was coming out, Last of Us Part 2, and I wanted to refresh the story for myself going into the second game. Going into Last of Us Part 2, I knew right away there was no way they were going to be able to top the first game. Ellie and Joel's relationship, the way that it grows and the way that they fill each other's voids, and just the characters of the first game, there was no way they were going to be able to top that, in my opinion. So going into it, I knew that that part 2 was probably going to be a better game as far as gameplay goes, but as far as story goes, I didn't think or expect that they were going to top it. And with that mindset going into it, I think I enjoyed the game a lot more than a lot of other people did. There's obviously the controversy that surrounds that game, and there was a lot of political statements and things like that that I'm not going to get into here. But at the same time, I didn't let it affect the way that I enjoyed the game. I still enjoyed the game. I thought it was a very good game. I thought the story was good. I actually ended up liking Abby at the end of the story. If you've been holding out on playing this game based on the things that you have heard from others and online, and you are a fan of the original Last of Us Remastered, pick this game up. It's well worth the $30, and go into it with the same mindset that I went into it with. It's not gonna beat the first game as far as story goes, but if you just let it be what it is and just kind of enjoy it and take it all in as it comes, I think you'll find a lot of enjoyment, and I think you will actually enjoy the story of part 2 a lot more than you would going into it expecting it to somehow top the masterpiece that is The Last of Us. With that being said, go pick this game up if you haven't gotten it yet. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remake. This is another sort of game that Activision is bringing back to life in 2020, and as of recent years, we've seen games like Spyro the Dragon and the Crash Bandicoot get remakes for the current generation, as well as a Crash Bandicoot sequel, and Tony Hawk is another game that just sort of got a remake for the newest consoles, and this game doesn't disappoint. If you love the old Tony Hawk games, you're gonna absolutely love this game. I felt like it did all the right things as far as bringing this game into a modern age without tweaking too much. This one was very fun to string combos together, all that addictive gameplay of past. It's very arcadey, it's very pick up and play. You can play it for 5 minutes or 5 hours, and I had a lot of fun going back and enjoying this game in 2020. The music is one thing that I feel like a lot of games are kind of missing these days, is like those old school soundtracks with bands that are well-known bands, and this game really nailed it. I wasn't a big fan of the new songs that they put in, but when I heard Billy Talent for the first time in probably about 15 years on Tony Hawk, it really brought me back and threw me for a loop. So those other songs, the newer ones, you know, I'm sure that's great for the new generation. Not really my thing, but give me some Billy Talent and, you know, I'm set. So the original soundtrack was absolutely phenomenal. I really love the audio design of this game as well. Every time you pop the board or land, it just really feels right and sounds right. I think they just nailed it as far as audio design goes, and just a great addicting game. It plays the nostalgia strings, it plays the arcadey strings, it just plays all my strings, man. This year has been different. I'm not gonna say it's been bad, because, you know, we can find silver linings in all things. We had shutdowns pretty much across the country. I had more time than ever to play more games, to live stream, to make YouTube content, and I had a blast doing it. The opportunities that were afforded to me because of the pandemic were opportunities that I may not have had otherwise. So I just encourage everyone to kind of keep your chins up. And another silver lining is, you know, at the end of the day, it can't get any worse, right? But I had an amazing time making this video. Let me know, guys, in the comment section down below, what of the games that I reviewed today is your favorite, or which one did I maybe compel you to play in 2021? If you got value out of this video, do me a favor and smash that like button, as well as subscribe with bell notifications turned on so you can catch me every time I post a new video. And lastly, if you'd like to help support this channel monetarily, I do have a Patreon link in the description below. But until next time, guys, Luke from 8bitplus signing out, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless.